The Oscar slap wasn't just a shocking moment. It was the crack that split open Hollywood's so-called perfect family. For decades, the Smiths were seen as untouchable, the blueprint for success, love, and Black Hollywood royalty. But what the world saw on that stage was only the beginning. Behind the cameras, the smiles, and the red table confessions was a web of secrets, betrayals, and unraveling facades that the internet will never let them forget. Will, Jada, Jaden, and Willow, each of them has faced a downfall that looks nothing like the charmed life they once sold us. So how did America's favorite family go from aspirational icons to a cautionary tale everyone pities? And what does their story reveal about the hidden cost of fame, image, and truth in the digital age? Stick around, because the answers are far more shocking than you think. Before the scandals, before the slap, the Smiths were a symbol of everything people thought they wanted. Will Smith wasn't just a box office legend, he was the Fresh Prince turned global superstar, a man who could dominate Hollywood without ever cursing in a rap verse. He built an empire on charm, charisma, and a squeaky clean image that made him one of the most beloved figures in entertainment. And he didn't build it alone. Jada Pinkett Smith was his equally talented partner, respected as both an actress and a musician. Together, they crafted the image of a power couple who had it all: wealth, influence, and a marriage strong enough to inspire an entire generation. Their children, Jaden and Willow, were born into stardom. With roles in blockbuster films and chart-topping songs, they looked like the next wave of Hollywood royalty. The family leaned into this image. Jada launched Red Table Talk, a show about honesty and vulnerability, which only added to the sense that the Smiths were more than celebrities. They were role models. To fans, they weren't just watching actors and musicians. They were watching a family that seemed to thrive under the pressure of fame, balancing career, love, and parenting in a way that felt almost unreal. But behind that polished exterior, cracks were already forming. And when the curtain finally fell, it became clear that the story of the Smiths wasn't a fairy tale. It was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Will Smith's rise was legendary. From rapping with DJ Jazzy Jeff to starring in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he transformed from a broke kid in West Philly into Hollywood's golden boy. By the mid-90s, he was headlining blockbusters like Independence Day, Men in Black, and Bad Boys. Studios saw him as a guaranteed hit, and audiences adored him for being the charismatic star who never seemed to break a sweat. Part of his charm was his image: clean, wholesome, family-friendly. Even in rap, he stood out for refusing to curse, something his grandmother encouraged him to do. It made him millions, but it also gave critics ammunition. Hardcore rappers dismissed him as soft, corny, and even bubblegum.
In my mind, I wasn't like trying to avoid paying taxes. I was just like, oh damn, they need their money. Being famous and broke is a shitty combination, because you're still famous and people recognize you, and introduced me to Quincy, and like, hey Q, what's up, man? He's like, hey man, I saw your music videos. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Tell me your rap name again. All right, good. That's what we're gonna call the show.
Eminem once said Will was out of touch, too happy to understand the darker side of hip-hop. That tension between the image he sold and the man he really was would haunt him for decades.
The whole gender of rap, he dissed gangster rap music. I felt like he was taking a stab at me and Dre and anybody who uses profanity on a record to express themselves. Not everybody is as happy as Will Smith. So if he sees life about birds and bees and wants to rap about flowers, then let him rap about birds and bees and flowers. But don't diss nobody else.
In private, Will admitted he wasn't being authentic. He had created a character named Will Smith, the always smiling, always positive superstar, and lived inside it for years. The public never saw his jealousy over Jada's closeness with Tupac, his frustration at being called weak, or the rage he bottled up from childhood trauma. He confessed that sometimes he wanted to lash out, but the character wouldn't let him. And the longer he played the role, the heavier the mask became. The Fresh Prince was no longer a carefree hero. He was a man trapped inside an image, and the pressure to hold it all together was building toward one explosive moment that would change everything.
I haven't maintained my authenticity per se. I've maintained my character. Character in two senses. I've maintained my character of Will Smith, and I've maintained my personal character of what I believe in. So, but in terms of authenticity, the character, Will Smith, signs every autograph and is always happy and wants to see the fans and is always in a good mood. And that's actually not authentic, right? I do want to slap somebody, you know, every once in a while. So in terms of authenticity, I have successfully maintained positivity.
The 2022 Academy Awards should have been Will Smith's crowning achievement. After decades of proving himself on screen, he was finally about to win the Oscar for King Richard. It was supposed to be the night his career reached its highest peak. Instead, it became the night everything collapsed. When comedian Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's shaved head, what followed stunned the world. Will stormed the stage, struck him across the face, and shouted, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth." It wasn't just a slap. It was the unmasking of everything he'd tried to hide. In that one moment, the nicest man in Hollywood became something else entirely. The cameras caught the rage he had bottled since childhood. The same anger he said came from watching his father abuse his mother. Millions saw it spill out in real time. For fans who had grown up with him, the Fresh Prince had vanished, replaced by someone they didn't recognize. The fallout was brutal. Will was banned from the Oscars for 10 years, publicly shamed, and suddenly untouchable in Hollywood. His projects stalled. Even his own family couldn't shield him. His 9-year-old nephew asked, "Why did you hit that man, Uncle Will?" A question no PR team could spin away. The slap wasn't just an outburst. It was the breaking point of decades of pressure, insecurity, and hidden pain. But if Will's explosion shocked the world, what came next from Jada would leave people questioning everything they thought they knew about the Smiths.
Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to.
The little boy that watched his father beat up his mother, that was a rage that had been bottled for a really long time. I lost it. My nephew, Dom, is 9. You know, we came home and it's like he had stayed up late to see his Uncle Will. And he's just like, "Why did you hit that man, Uncle Will?" You know, damn it. Why are you trying to Oprah me?
If Will's downfall was a single explosive moment, Jada's was a slow burn that played out for years in front of millions. At first, Red Table Talk seemed like a bold idea, a place where Jada, her mom, and her daughter Willow could sit down and have real conversations. Fans praised it as raw, vulnerable, and even healing. But over time, it became something else, a stage for exposing the family's deepest wounds. The breaking point came in 2020 when Jada casually admitted to having an entanglement with singer August Alsina. She sat across from Will, who looked visibly broken, while she downplayed a 4-year relationship with another man as if it were a minor detail. The internet pounced on the word entanglement, turning it into a meme, while Will's pained face became a symbol of humiliation. Viewers didn't just see Jada sharing her truth, they saw her dismantling Will in real time. To many, it felt like she refused accountability, using clever wordplay instead of honesty. And while she laughed off the situation, Will's forced smiles told a different story. From there, the floodgates opened. Old clips resurfaced of Jada filming Will against his will, ignoring his pleas for privacy. Fans began re-examining her public obsession with Tupac, wondering if Will had ever truly been enough in her eyes. And when she released her memoir, Worthy, instead of Redemption, it only fueled the criticism. Headlines about their marriage drowned out the book itself, which flopped in sales. To critics, Jada wasn't just oversharing, she was capitalizing on the family's pain. To supporters, she was a woman speaking her truth. But either way, the damage was done. The couple once held up as relationship goals was now the internet's favorite cautionary tale. And while Jada was dismantling their mystique in the spotlight, their kids were struggling to carve out their own paths, some with more success than others.
4.5 years ago, started a friendship with August. We actually became really, really good friends. And it all started with him just needing some help. Me wanting to help his health, mental state,
And then what did you do, Jada?
You know, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship, absolutely.
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Oh my goodness.
if you could film me.
Sam, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Don't. Nah, cause she don't just.
I definitely would have hugged you more. I'll start now. Welcome to the Authors Club. I love you endlessly. Now go get some Merlot and take a rest.
Tired of Jada.
You don't want to hear about
period.
Tupac being your soulmate,
So it don't matter.
or him proposing to you. We watch you on Red Table Talk. You and your mom and your daughter talk. Y'all have all done y'all conversations about your past. And like, what else is there for us to know at this point?
While his parents battled scandals in public, Jaden was trying to prove he wasn't just Will's son. From the start, he seemed destined for greatness, starring alongside his dad in The Pursuit of Happiness and headlining the Karate Kid remake. By 15, he was emancipated, determined to live life on his own terms. It looked like the making of a prodigy, but the freedom that should have launched him instead turned into something else. Jaden didn't just want to be an actor. He wanted to be a philosopher, a fashion icon, and a generational music star. The problem? His confidence was bigger than his impact. Tweets like, "If everybody in the world dropped out of school, we would have a much more intelligent society," made him a laughingstock. Interviews where he compared himself to visionaries only fueled the idea that he was out of touch. When he released his project, SYRE, Jaden described it as a modern myth and himself as an icon. For a moment, the hype worked. The album gained traction, and fans thought he might actually step out of his father's shadow. But the momentum faded quickly. His music was too abstract for the mainstream, and instead of climbing the charts, he became a meme. Clips of him rambling about politics, fashion, and philosophy went viral, not for their brilliance, but for their absurdity. Even his personal life attracted more attention than his art. Relationships with influencers and models sparked drama online, but did little to boost his career. When he promised a comeback album, fans barely noticed. When it dropped, it barely charted. Jaden wanted to be a trailblazer, but the internet crowned him something else, the meme prince. And as his reputation faltered, his sister Willow was quietly building the credibility and respect that he never managed to secure.
You were like, "Mom, I have to leave here to live my life."
Totally.
And I remember thinking to myself, as devastated as I was like, he's right. Yeah. The time is now. He's 15. It's time for him to leave that.
That's pretty embarrassing when my dad tries to kiss me on the mouth in public. He tried to make a heart with our hands like this. I was against that as well.
You weren't down with the heart with
yeah.
Dad. I think it's sweet that your dad loves you so much.
I appreciate the love, but there's a time and place to.
A legend. Sire exists in the clouds, on the mountaintops, you know, like in the sunset, and he just represents, you know, broken, lost teenage youth, lost love.
I'm very happy that I spent my childhood with more adults than I did with kids my own age, because I was picking up more things from adults than I were from kids my own age. And I look and I go around sometimes and I hang out with other people that are my age, and they're just kind of selfie. I'm just like, dude, like.
If Jaden became the meme of the family, Willow became its redemption story. At just 9 years old, she exploded onto the scene with Whip My Hair. The single nearly cracked the top 10, turning her into a child star overnight. But behind the success, Willow hated the spotlight. She later revealed that the pressure from her parents, especially Will, left her feeling trapped, depressed, and unheard. At one point, she admitted she even hurt herself as a cry for help. That dark chapter could have defined her. Instead, it fueled her reinvention. In a dramatic moment of rebellion and healing, Willow shaved her head on stage while performing the very song that made her famous. It was a symbolic reset, a way of saying, "I'm not just a puppet for anyone's dreams, not even my parents." From there, she refused to be boxed in. Unlike her brother, who was often mocked for chasing profundity, Willow experimented until she found her voice. She jumped from R&B to alternative rock to pop punk, eventually landing on a sound that critics finally respected. With albums like Lately I Feel Everything and Empathogen, she proved she wasn't just another industry kid. She was an artist in her own right. And unlike Jaden's grand declarations, Willow let the work speak for itself. 6 albums in, she earned praise from critics, built a loyal fan base, and even landed a spot opening for Coldplay, a stamp of credibility no meme could erase. Ironically, the song she once despised, Whip My Hair, now feels like the foundation of her identity. Be yourself, live out loud, don't care what anyone thinks. The message is the same, but this time, she's living it authentically. Today, Willow is the Smith who commands respect, proof that reinvention is possible even in the shadow of a crumbling family empire. But not everyone who crossed paths with the Smiths found redemption. For August Alsina, the man at the center of Jada's infamous entanglement, the fallout was far more complicated.
It was after that whole Whip My Hair thing, and I had just stopped doing singing lessons.
Right.
And I was kind of just in this gray area of who am I? Is there, do I have a purpose? Is there anything that I can do besides this?
23, 6 albums out. How is this project gonna be different from everything else you've done?
This album is my first grown-up album. There's never a moment in your life where you're like, this is me. There is a moment in your life where you realize what really matters to you, and you realize the path that you're always gonna be on. And for me, that path is sharpening my musicianship.
I remember the moment I was in my room and I was looking up videos of my favorite artists and just trying to vibe out on something, and then I hit a dark thought and I was it just hit me really hard in that moment, no, I can't. Now, I feel differently about that, and it's because I just really put the hard work in to prove to myself.
If there was one outsider who became forever entangled, literally, in the Smith family's downfall, it was August Alsina. Once seen as an R&B rising star, signed to Def Jam and praised for his debut album Testimony, August should have been remembered for his music. Instead, his name is now permanently linked to the Smiths. It began when he grew close to the family through Jaden. Vulnerable and struggling with his health, August found support in Jada. But what started as mentorship spiraled into a 4-year relationship that Jada later dismissed with a single word: entanglement. The internet laughed, Will looked devastated, and August became collateral damage in a story that wasn't entirely his to control. To his credit, he never dragged the Smiths in public. He even claimed he sat down with Will and got his blessing. But the way Jada minimized the relationship on Red Table Talk made it look like August was just a side story, when in reality, it was his life. The stress of the romance, he said, even made him physically ill. Industry insiders whispered that it wasn't just an affair, it was something much deeper that Jada deliberately downplayed. When the jokes piled up, August tried to reclaim the narrative with a song called Entanglement, leaning into the chaos. But instead of boosting his career, it overshadowed it. His later projects struggled to chart, and despite his talent, he became more of a headline than an artist. In 2022, August shocked fans again. On reality TV, he revealed he was in love with a man, calling it a freeing moment in his life. For many, his name will always first conjure the messiest chapter of the Smith family saga. August Alsina wanted to be known as an R&B powerhouse. Instead, he became the catalyst, the outsider who exposed cracks in Hollywood's perfect family. And as his life took unpredictable turns, the Smiths themselves were left with a legacy they could no longer control.
I don't know why people make a big deal out of this. God damn, I don't eat pussy. I'm young. I ain't about to. I guess the world we live in, people just, that's what goes on. Everybody just eating, everybody puss. And I'm cool right now, man.
People can have whatever ideas that they like, but what I'm not okay with is my character, being in question. When certain things are questionable that I know is not me, or that I know that I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship.
Love showed up, but in a new way. I want to share that and really honor the person that I love and that loves me back and teaching me so much about love and healing. I want to do that in front of the world.
And you talked about your love for another man. What has opening your heart done for you?
To be honest with you, bro, it's not even me that's opening my heart. It's that power that's higher than myself. I always say that the greatest gift that God have ever given me was exposure.
The Smiths were once Hollywood's first family, a dynasty built on talent, charisma, and the illusion of perfection. But within a few short years, that illusion crumbled. The Oscar slap, the entanglement, the awkward interviews, the failed albums, the memoir flop, all of it piled up until the mystique was gone. What used to inspire envy now inspires pity. And that's the harsh truth of the internet age. Nobody forgets. Every red table clip, every awkward smile, every breakdown has been screenshotted, memed, and immortalized. What once looked like openness now looks like oversharing. What once felt like strength now feels like dysfunction. The downfall of the Smiths isn't just a celebrity gossip story, it's a mirror. It shows what happens when image becomes more important than reality, when masks are worn for too long, and when private struggles are fed to a public that's always hungry for drama. The cost isn't just reputational, it's personal. Broken trust, fractured relationships, lives lived under scrutiny instead of in peace. And yet, hidden in the wreckage is a lesson. Authenticity matters. Boundaries matter. Fame without grounding can turn even the most admired family into a cautionary tale. The Smiths remind us that even those who seem untouchable can fall, and when they do, the world will be there to watch and to replay it endlessly. Their story began as Hollywood royalty. Today, it stands as a warning. The higher the pedestal, the harder the fall.